Before we get started, if you don't know who I am, my name is Sam, and I run an agency that books appointments for agencies. Essentially, we do 100 or 120 appointments every single month per client, and we help agency owners grow and scale their agency. So that's what I do, and that's who I am, essentially. Just so you know. So let's get into this, because it's very common for people these days to like not know how to set the goals correctly. Because like I've seen a lot in my friend group as well. They set goals this high, which are something they're just like dreaming up, and then they can't do it because they tell themselves that they can't do it. Right? Does that make sense? Because you can tell yourself like a hard goal that you want to achieve. Like let's say you want to be a millionaire one day. You can tell yourself that as long as you actually follow through, as long as you actually believe that, right? Let's say you are here at version one, okay? So this is version one. This is what you currently are right now, you know? And then you want to get to this version. This is like a bigger version. Not that big. Okay. So this is a bigger version that you want to get to. This can be anything. This can be money. This can be health. This can be relationship wise. You just want to get to here. Like this is your goal. So I want you to look at this as a person. Okay. I want you to look at this like a personality. You don't want to be looking at goals as goals. Does that make sense? You don't want to be looking at material things. You don't want to be looking at like, oh, once I make 20K, that's my goal. Once I make 20K, I'll have this car, X, Y, and Z. That's not correct. Okay. That's not the right way to look at this. You want to look at it as a person, as a person. Okay. You want to try to become someone who makes $20,000 every single month. Does that kind of make sense? So let's say you are right now making $0 per month, or you're making 20K, you want to get to 50K. You're making 0K, you want to get to 20K. So right now, the person you are right now, let's take for example, you're making zero, you want to get to 20. The person you are right now has no chance to get to 20K, like zero, unless you change. But with that same person that you are right now, like if you keep doing what you are doing right now, there is no chance, like at all. You need to get more skills or you need to change to get to 20K. That's a fact, okay? Because if you were the kind of person who could get to 20K just by being yourself, you'd already be there, right? So a hard truth, but a truth, you know? So if you want to make 20K, you want to become the person that can make 20K. And I can tell you firsthand, what the person that makes 20K looks like is someone who has control of their emotions, who can control what they do every single day and not give in to their emotions. They are good at sales. They can get people to buy their stuff consistently every single month. If you can do these two things, be good at sales and be good at controlling your emotions and be disciplined. And obviously, you need to have something to sell as well. So let's say you're doing ads or something. That's all you need. You need three specific skills to get to 20K. It's not that hard. It is not. Okay. Coming from someone who's done it, it's not that hard. Like people are very weak these days. Like I'm being very honest here, and I know that I can do that with you because you're the kind of person who watches these kind of videos. It's very easy to beat people, bro. Like very easy, bro. Like girl, whoever you are watching this, it's very easy. People are so weak. I'll give you an example. So I was talking with one of one of the guys, and they were he was an agency owner, and they were doing appointment booking for agency owners. And it was like a small agency owner, like making 1 or 2 grand a month, not even that, maybe like less than 1K, you know? And I asked him, okay, so what are you doing to get clients right now? And he was like, oh, I'm just doing cold calls. And I was like, wow, good, that's good. That's someone who is actually committed, you know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, so how many cold calls are you making per day? And then he was like, well, I'm making 50. I was like, 50? I was kind of disgusted. I don't know what your standards are at all, but like I was very disgusted by that because if you are making less than 1K and you're still like just making 50 calls a day, what are you doing, man? Like seriously, you think you can grow by making 50 calls? So like people are very weak. And he was like, and I kind of dug into it and I was like, okay, so how many calls is that per week? And then he was like, well, that's like I do it 3 times a week. And I book like 2 calls with that. So I was like, okay, so you're doing 150 calls and you're booking 2 calls with that. So he was like, yeah. So I was like, okay. So we definitely can improve the cold calls, and we can definitely shoot for 4 calls by doing 150 cold calls. We can definitely shoot for 4 appointments booked. But like, why are you not doing more? Like, if these numbers if these numbers stay the same when we increase the volume, then you obviously will be booking. You can literally book 2 calls a day by doing 150 calls a day. Because I remember when I started, I did 200 calls every single day, like day in day out, like no exceptions. Every single day, I did them on Saturdays too, and then Sundays I didn't do them because the niche that I was calling, that they weren't working on Sundays, so that was my excuse, you know. um, but yeah, I was just like, why are you not scaling that? And he was like, oh, like I have other things to do and blah 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 blah. And I was like, okay, so how many clients do you have? He's like, one. And I was just like so infuriated. I was like, what are you doing, man? Like it's so fucking obvious that you're not making that much money because you're not trying. And I might get a little bit passionate with this stuff because like I've been there and I know how this goes. Like I know what it looks like. I've been at the starting. I've been where you're doing 200 calls a day and like people are saying no to you. It sucks. I know. But to get out of that, you need to try because like this person that you want to be, the virgin two, doesn't just come up. Like it's not going to be easy to get from here to here. It's not going to be like all sunshine and rainbows that you're just like running like a quick jog in the park. It's not going to be that, man. Like I can tell you, you're going to have to go through hell and it's going to suck and you won't know what you're doing. Like I've been there. Like you try your best every single day, and at the end of the day, you're like, did I do the right things? And then you're like, I don't know. But guess what? You gotta get up tomorrow and do the same thing again. I've had that feeling. I know how it goes, right? But the only way out is by going through this, and that's the only way. Otherwise, you can just stay this version one, fit in with the normal people, go do a 9 to 5, and do that. And that's your life. Like most people have that life, so it's nothing wrong with that according to them. You know. So like just to give you a little bit more context, because like I used to be very obese, like fat obese, right? And I'm not body shaming. I don't hate fat people, none of that. But for me, that was like very unhealthy, and I didn't get that much attention from women. So my relationship sucked. I didn't have any, you know what I mean? And like I had nothing going for me career wise. Everything was shit, and like I had no control over my emotions. I was undisciplined. Everything sucks. This is essentially what I looked like very fat. Um, like this. This is what I was. Like this is when I am like 15, 16. Like you can see this is like not the best, you know what I mean? Like if you were this guy, you knew that you didn't get no attention from females, you had nothing going for you, you had no discipline, essentially. And some people are in that place, you know what I mean? And I'm recording this to tell you that like you can completely change, you can completely shift your life around. So when I was this guy and I wanted to be a fit guy like this is what happened. Like This is, I kid you not, these pictures are 4 months apart. Like 4 months. So what I did when I was here is I didn't act like this person. I didn't act like a fat person. I started acting like a fit person. Very obvious, right? If you want to become fit, you start acting like a fit person. You start eating healthy, you start training, you start working out, you start doing stuff that makes you healthy. You know what I mean? You start making decisions like a fit person. But for some reason, some people don't some people don't use the same framework when it comes to business. They just keep being themselves. They're like, oh, I'm just gonna be myself. I'm just like gonna do 50 cold calls today. And yeah, that's just me. I can't like push harder than that. Yeah, and it's so infuriating, right? They're like, oh, I gotta have that work-life balance. This is just me. I don't think I can work for more than 5 hours a day. That's just like that's just my potential. And I'm like, sure, but know that if you don't get to your goals, it's your fucking fault. And at the end of your life, you're going to get to middle age, you're going to get to like 30, 40, 45 years of your age, and then you're going to be poor, and then you're going to be someone who has nothing going for them, and they're going to still be average. And then you're going to think back to when you were younger to this day, and you're going to regret not working. That's what I told myself because it's fucking true. And that's what most people don't like understand. That's what I told this guy when I was this guy. That's what I told myself. I was like, okay, Hassan, if you keep doing what you've been doing, what happens then? Like, do you see any future? And I was like, from when I was younger, I always had a vision that like I wanted to be rich and successful, right? And I just asked myself, like, if I just kept doing this shit, am I going anywhere in my life? The answer was no. Then I had to act like this person, Then I had to like start playing football, start enrolling in clubs, act like an athlete, change my diet, stuff like that. And now the next goal that I have is to become a millionaire. So now I got to start acting like that guy. You know what I mean? So I can tell you firsthand, the principles are the same. Nothing changes. This is just a separate domain in life. You know, every domain has this. Like, this is like a principle of reality. You cannot change that. So, right now, you might be thinking, okay, so I'm at 0K right now. I want to get to 20K. Or you might be thinking, oh, I'm at 20K right now. I want to get to 50. Or you might be at 30K. You want to be able to get to 70, 100K. Okay, this might just be your current version. Okay, and your goal version. And you might be like, okay, so all of this makes sense. It sounds good. It sounds shiny. It sounds booba. How do I apply that in my fucking life? Like, how do I change that? And that's the most important thing because if you can't apply that in your life, then so I want to give you concrete steps. Okay. So, first step is list out what you want. Like, what do you actually want? What's the goal? Is the goal 20K? Is the goal 50K? Is the goal 100K? So I would list out. For this example, let's take 20K. So let's say your goal is 20K. Okay, and you're currently making 1K, 2K, 5K, whatever. Your goal is 20K. So you need to figure out what your sales conversion rate is. Okay. We need to get in the numbers. So if your goal is something else other than business, you can still do that. You can still like get into the numbers, right? So let's say your goal is 20K and you're setting something for 5 grand, or let's say 5 grand. Okay. So you're selling something for 5K. Okay. Now you know that you need 4 people to buy from you every single month to make 20K. Very simple math. Okay. Okay. So you need 4 clients. So now that you know that you need 4 clients every single month to get to your goal, then all you need to focus on is getting 4 clients, not making 20K. And then you need to focus on becoming the person that can close 4 clients a month. Because I can tell you, closing 4 clients a month is not rocket science. It's fucking easy. It's very simple once you have the right process in place. Okay. So you need to figure out what you need to do to close four clients, or if you don't know what to do, then you need to figure out how you're going to do that. Okay. I can tell you my story. What I did was when I was this guy, so when I was this guy, where are we? Okay, so when I was this guy here, I did all of this and I was like, okay, I want to be a millionaire. How do I do that? Because like I started playing football when I was this guy, so I was 16, 17 years old. And I was like, okay, so I can't beat these guys who've been playing for like 10, 20 years, who've been playing since they're like 3 years old. I can't beat them because they have compounding on their end, right? So I was like, okay, so I need to be a millionaire. What do I do? So when I was here, this was my version one. Then I had to start acting like someone who was at 20K. So what I did is I started making cold calls, I started doing things, and nothing really worked for me, which is like pretty common in the beginning. Not so usually nothing works. You know what I mean? Okay, I might cry. Bubble running. Anyways, cool. So this is I think 3 years back. I was this guy. I wanted to be a millionaire, and I was making 200 cold calls a day. I had no idea what I was doing. Right, I was just doing the volume, booking like a couple calls a day, and I was like making what like $500 a month or something. You know, and I still remember I had like 2K in my bank, like 2K US dollars. And I was like, and I dropped at this point, I've dropped out of uni. I've like cut off all of my bad friends from the uni. I have cut off my girlfriend, because we broke up essentially. That's what happened. Um, and I was just by myself at that point. Um, that was a hard time, in my life. I took in my bank and I had no way of getting to 10, 20K per month. And I was like, okay, I've been doing this for 8 months and I've just been cold calling every single month and I have like no traction. I had like one client paying me like two, $300 or something per month. Then I saw a YouTuber, like a mentor, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, so this guy seems he knows what he's talking about. And then I was like, okay, this guy does seem like what he's talking about. I need his help. I definitely do because I don't know what I'm doing. Then I went on a call with him, and turned out that his program was 12 grand. So like I was literally scared at that point. I was like, wow. And obviously, if you don't want to listen to my story, don't want to listen to me ramble, you can skip like 2 3 minutes ahead. But yeah, let's continue. And you can tell in the comments if you like these stories or not. Like, I don't want to like waste your time, you know. So what happened there? Like, his program was 12 grand, and I was like scared. I had like a fear in my, you know, when like you have someone say something, and you have like a fucking heavy stone in your chest, where you're like, fuck, what do I do next? That's where I was. And this is like 2 3 years ago. I had 2K in my bank, and I told him up front. I was like, bro, I really need this. I have 2K in my bank. Can you help me? And then we set up a payment plan, and like I paid it. And it was worth it. I don't know where I'd be if I didn't make that like decision to actually go through that hard decision, because it was a hard decision, you know. Um, I don't know where I'd be. But like the fact is, the reason told this story to you is I was Virgin 1. I had no systems in place. I was just cold calling. Virgin 2 was someone who had the systems. So all I needed to do was act like this person. To act like this person, I needed the systems to actually make the 20 grand, to actually close the four clients, you know? And that's what I was working on. So if you don't know what this person looks like, All you need to do is figure out your goal, figure out what you need to do, figure out the systems you need to accomplish this number, and then you get to finding that. You get to finding someone who's achieved it before. You can pay them to help you, or you can just like find it on YouTube or whatever. But all you should do is try to act like this person. Is try to build those systems in your agency that are already working, so that way you can get to your goal. And if your goal is health wise, then it's very simple. You just try to act like someone who's already fit. And if someone's fit, they're obviously counting their calories, they're working out every day, they're looking at their macros, they're training hard. That's what the person is doing. So you just emulate that. So you don't believe in your ability to achieve your goal. Okay? So if you're watching this and you're like, "Oh, I'm like very uncertain if I'm going to be able to do this." You don't have to believe in it at all. All you need to believe in is your ability to become this person. That's it. If you can act like this person, you will get this. There is no other way. There is no other way. If your agency had all the systems um that created 20K every single month, then you would be making that because you don't matter at all in the business. All the business cares about is the right systems. And if the right systems are in place, the business will make this much money. That's it. There should be a point booking system that books a certain number of calls. There should be a sales system that closes a certain number of people. And that's it. And obviously, you need the service delivery system so that way the clients get results. So I'll break this down for you a little bit more. So let's say your sales conversion rate is 20%, very standard. So to close four clients, you will need to divide this by zero point 0.2. Sorry, this is supposed to be division. Okay. So like to close four clients, you would need to divide this by 20. Hey Siri, what's 4 divided by zero point 0.2? Cool. So you need 20 calls to close four clients, essentially, at this conversion rate. Okay? Let's say you have a show up rate of 80%. Okay? So to get 20 calls, you will need at an 80% show up rate, you will need hey Siri, what's 20 divided by zero point 0.8? Okay, so you would need 25 calls. This is very doable. This is fucking simple, guys. Like, if you can't book 25 calls in a month, then what are you doing? Like, seriously, you know? So, let's say you need 25 calls, okay? To book 25 calls, like literally 25 calls. This is show ups, by the way, but you understand this. So, to book 25 calls, let's say you're doing cold DMs or cold calls, and you have a 1% appointment booking rate. So you reach out to 100 people, one of them books a call with you. Okay. So that's like a 1% appointment booking rate. So that would obviously be 2,500. Yeah, 2,500. Yeah. So you would have to reach out to 2,500 people in 1 month to close four clients. So if you divide that 2,500 reach outs, bear with me, guys. So 2,500 reach outs, if you divide that by 20, 21 weekdays in a month, that would be, hey Siri, what's 2,500 divided by 21? There you go, 119. Let's say 120. So all you need to do is 120 outreaches per day with these conversion rates, right? With these conversion rates to make 20 grand a month. So if you did have the systems that were booking a 1% upon booking rate with a 80% show up rate with a 20% sales conversion rate, there is no other way other than you making this much money. There is no other way. You know what I mean? Like there is no other way. As I told you here, If you had the right systems, that's all the business cares about. If you had the right systems in place, you are going to make that much money, you know? So that's what you need to do. Figure out who you need to become and then emulate their behavior and then go through the pain that you need to go through because it's going to be hard, as I told you, but it's going to be worth it. Like at the end, you're going to look back and you're going to be proud of the journey that you were on, right? Because it's way better than just sitting around and fucking hoping, right? By the way, if you are looking to book more appointments for your agency, there's a link in the description that's going to help you do that. We've helped a ton of people, and when you go to the link, you'll be able to see some testimonials as well. We usually book 120 appointments per month per client, so that's just what our private clients do. So there's a link in the description, full transparency. It's going to take you to a sales funnel where I'm going to try and tell you something. I don't want to bullshit you here, but yeah, I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you sitting through my pitch. But if you need help with booking appointments, go through that link and we'll help you out. Like this video if you did like it and you found this helpful in any way, and subscribe so that way you are notified when I upload. Anyways, that's it from me. Bye bye.